Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of North, Andrew Reese, and I am back with not just Jose and Gil this week, because I told you we would have Barbosa back on the show after the Arrowhead Invitational, and he's back, and we're going to talk to him about his Colts, and we'll let him answer the questions that I have. But we also have Brandon Aiyuk's contract situation we're going to talk about for us 49er fans out there. And we're going to make our picks and also talk to Gil about his Packers as he had a week off. But there's only one place to start this show, and that's with the game of the week in Week 12, which was Indianapolis at Kansas City. The Colts took a 20-9 lead into the fourth quarter and lost in overtime in a game that was utterly and completely dominated by the Chiefs. If not for some turnovers, they would have won the game by a lot more than 3 points. Even then, they still almost blew it because of Patrick Mahomes' poor play in the red zone. But having saw that game and saw what that defense did to you and Jonathan Taylor, and then watch a fourth quarter lead evaporate because your coach decided to put the ball in Daniel Jones' hands, are your Colts frauds, Barbosa?
I don't think they're frauds. Well, define the word fraud. Do I think they can still win the division? Yeah.
Are they a serious contender? That's what I'm talking about with frauds. Are they a real contender, or did they get exposed by the Chiefs?
I don't think they got exposed by the Chiefs. I think my opinion watching that game, I think Shane Steichen coached a game, not to lose instead of coaching a game to win.
Right.
I think that game was lost. I'll tell you when that game was lost. In the last drive before the half by the Colts was 3rd and 1. And I don't know why he decided to throw the ball on 3rd and 1 instead of running the ball. And you give Patrick Mahomes, was it a minute? I think it was a minute 30, I believe, into the half. Yeah. Because the Colts were going to get the ball back at the half. The Colts were getting the ball back. That's where they lost the game, because they could have gone up either 23 to 6 or 27-6,
right?
Instead of going 20-9, and that's where I think the game was lost. Even there was another possession in the second half. I don't know if it was early in the third quarter or in the third quarter. I believe they're also 3rd and 2, and they threw the ball again. And Kansas City blitzed. It's like Kansas City knew what Shane Steichen was doing.
Yeah.
That's where they lost the game. Their game plan, it was not to win the game, but was not to lose the game. And that's where the Colts were hurt. And I believe that specific game was on Shane Steichen. That's why I'm saying the Colts are not, I'm not saying they're frauds, but Shane Steichen got a little bit exposed in that game.
I would agree that he did get exposed. I mean, I watched that game and thought to myself, I mean, the Chiefs should be up by more, and they're down 11 going to the fourth. And the Colts had a chance to win that game, and there were 3-and-outs, too many 3-and-outs in the fourth quarter.
100%.
Jonathan Taylor, basically what the Chiefs did was they said, we're not letting Jonathan Taylor beat us, and we'll win this game. And that's what happened. And if you're a Colts fan and you got to play the Houston Texans twice, who are going to do the same thing, you got to play Jacksonville, who's going to do the same thing, and the Seabags, I believe. You got some really tough games coming up. You got the 49ers coming up. And I know Salah ain't going to let Jonathan Taylor run either. It's going to be on Daniel Jones to make some big throws. And what I noticed in this game is when it was expected for him to make a big throw, he could not make a big throw. And if you're a Colts fan and you're going into the playoffs thinking you're a contender, that's a big, big problem, Barclays.
Especially in the blitz, because if you notice those third down plays, they blitzed Daniel Jones, and he got the ball off way too quick than he needed to. If you look at it, the throws were a little bit in front of the receivers, so that's what I'm saying. Like Shane Steichen was a little bit conservative. I don't know why you're throwing it there. Jonathan Taylor, he's your best player. You got to put that ball in his hands. Yeah, that's the guy you're gonna win or lose with. So, and those plays like that, you got to give it to him. It's like the Super Bowl, the Seahawks against the Patriots. You give the ball on the 1 yard line. You give the ball to your player. That's either you're going to win it or you're going to lose with that player. So that's what happened in that game. Like I said, he coached not to lose that game instead of coaching to win that game.
Yeah. Jose, any thoughts on that game? It was the game of the week. It was a big game. The Colts could have knocked the Chiefs out of the playoffs legitimately, because I don't think they make the playoffs if they lose that game.
No.
What did you see? Tough. What did you see in that game, Jose?
You stop the run. You stop the Colts, basically.
Yep.
And teams are going to be stacking up the box, and they're going to make Daniel Jones beat them. And that's just a recipe that's been happening for the last 2 weeks. And it's going to continue this week against Houston and stuff like that. And dude, the run game opens up the play action game for the Colts. And if they can't run,
100%.
And if they can't run the ball, then they're not going to be able to throw it.
Yeah.
So,
and Houston is coming. Houston is coming. That team, they were able to make Josh Allen look like a normal QB. That they are coming for Daniel Jones. I'm telling you. And they got to play Houston twice. That team is no joke defensively. So, I just want to get Gil in here. Gil, did you see any of that game, and what were your thoughts on what happened in that game?
My thoughts, I think, Reese, no disrespect, but I think you're on drugs even asking this question. So I don't even know what we're talking about here, because we're talking about is Indianapolis exposed? As far as I know, Indianapolis is 8-3. Who hasn't been exposed? The Chiefs are 6-5. Okay, the Bills are 7-4. But the Broncos, they got exposed already. The Eagles got exposed. So all these great teams, you think they're great, they're all getting exposed. You're Niners.
I said it last week. I said it last week. You weren't here, Gil.
They're 6.
I said this last week, Gil. You weren't here. I said there's no great teams in the NFL right now. I said it last week.
No, there isn't.
I know, but we're pinpointing here against Barbosa's Colts. Barbosa, you ought to be quiet. I'm defending you.
I'm not saying the
Colts here. The Colts here. Barbosa, it's my turn to talk. The Colts here are doing well. They're going with the Broncos here for the run. Okay, are they the two best teams? I don't know, but they've been consistent. Look at their records. The Patriots are in there 10-2, right? But guess what? The Patriots are a team that can go first round, second round the playoffs and get drilled the first game. So there's no inconsistency this year. But now, calling Indy frauds? No. For anything, they're 8-3, 6-0 at home. They're playing the run game great. Jonathan Taylor's second best. Daniel Jones, who expected that? So we got to clap to Indianapolis, and it might be with the chick as the president. She's right next. All these. Maybe that's what the Cowboys need. They need women. They need a woman to run the team. Maybe that's the next step. I don't know.
This is a big game. This is a big game for the Colts.
They're doing great. And the only thing that's coming for Jones is not Houston, Reese. It's going to be money. That chick's going to pay.
Oh, of course. They're going to pay him because they traded all their draft picks. Of course they're going to pay him.
Yeah, that trade for Sauce Gardner
that trade confirmed he's getting paid. I already know he's getting paid.
And bottom line, what I'm trying to say here, there's lots of teams, Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
There's
Buffalo,
no great team. There's no great team,
Those teams are in worse position than Indy right now. So I think Indy's not in shambles. All those other teams are your Josh Allen's and all this that you guys thought were with Batman capes. There's no Batman capes for these guys. These guys better open their eyes, or else they're gonna get knocked out.
That's so great. Thank you, Gil. I love it. That's great, Gil. Thank you for that very, very much. I did not say the Colts were frauds. I asked if they were frauds. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. I'm sorry to say it. I just don't believe in Daniel Jones. I think that Jonathan Taylor's carrying this offense, and without him, I agree with Jose, they're in a lot of trouble, because if they can't run the football and they blitz Daniel Jones, it's over. It's no different than Sam Darnold. As soon as you blitz Sam Darnold, he sees ghosts and throws 4 picks to the Rams. Okay? Or he throws 4 picks to Detroit when he was in Minnesota last year, which is why he's no longer in Minnesota. Okay? So if you want to ask me, there's one great team right now, and it's the Rams. That's the only great team I see right now.
Yeah, that's the only team. I agree. I think that's the best team in the NFL right now. Yeah,
and even they only won by 2 against Seattle when Darnold threw 4 picks. So even they have their issues scoring
listen,
sometimes.
And the Colts could have won that game in LA if that guy didn't drop the ball at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
So,
there's no big favorite. Gil's right about it. There's no huge favorite to win anything.
And you look at New England's record.
Picks goes everybody. Pick goes everybody. Didn't Purdy do 3 picks last week and he still won 20-9?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I'm gonna say that Purdy shit. He shouldn't have won. They might as well keep Mac Jones then. Is that what I'm supposed to say? Because he threw 3 picks? No. There's games that happen. You had a bad game. They won. But Purdy didn't look good at all.
Yeah, but it's like right? you, Gil. When your team wins, every single week your team wins, you talk about how Jordan Love makes you nervous. It's no different than us talking about it.
100%. I think we're in the same.
Every week he says it for
position.
Every week Jordan Love makes this guy nervous, whether he wins or loses.
I think me and you are in the same position. The quarterback makes a little bit nervous.
So I'm talking about Daniel Jones. It's no different.
There's times the Packers won the game ends, and I scratch my head still thinking, how did they win that game?
Right.
Well, to be fair, I don't think
the 49ers on Monday.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten to Colts wins, except for the Broncos win. That was a little bit whatever, but every win the Colts have had, you can say, the Colts were the better team. Yes, except for maybe the Broncos game.
No, the Bronco flag, whatever. The back, whatever, you got
that was the only game I can say win. But but every other win they had, it was a great win. Yeah, the losses that they had were, especially though the Pittsburgh one. Well, Pittsburgh one, that was a huge loss.
Look at the Broncos. Look at the record. Yeah. They've been sleeping at least 7 games in they don't even look like they're a team in the first 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden they're scoring 30 points in the fourth quarter.
That's Bo Nix. 7 games. Bo Nix that's Bo Nix. He looks like the worst quarterback for like a half. Yeah. We're 3 quarters, and then he looks like the best quarterback.
Yeah, but look at Philadelphia last week. They scored in their first 3 possessions. They're up 21-0. They didn't score the rest of the game. And Dallas comes back and wins. That's how messed up the NFL is.
That's a team that has they don't know what's going on. They're winning, but I don't know what's going on. You remember 2 years ago I said about the Eagles? I feel that I have the same feeling about the Eagles as I do 2 years ago. It's like they don't know what's going on. They're winning, but I don't know what's happening there.
Well, their defense is winning them games right now. But all right. Well, that was a great Colts report, Barbosa. I gotta say that was really good. Now, just before we go, I want to go through the Colts schedule, which is why I have my concerns. And now, obviously, there's a lot of teams with tough schedules. Gills, Packers have a tough schedule coming up. My 49ers are going to have tougher games coming up. But the reason why I was concerned is because you got the Texans, the Jaguars, the Seabags, the 49ers, the Jaguars, and the Texans. That's 4 division games, which could decide the division.
Those are the big
Seabags,
games.
who are widely considered the second or third best team in the league, and then the 49ers at home. So none of those games are easy.
But those are games you can afford to lose. Those 4 games, those divisional games.
Games you can't lose.
Right? Those are you got to win.
And you have trouble beating the Jaguars every year.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So this is not over yet. It's not over for the division.
What I feel comfortable is, like Gil said, they're undefeated at home. They play well at home. So knowing that we're going to have at least 2 home games, because obviously we're going to go to Jacksonville and we're going to go to Houston, but then they're going to come to Indy. So those games at home, those are the games we got to win for sure at home. You can't lose those games. So
okay. So almost, Barbosa, almost snuck one out, but you're right. I think they played not to lose. It certainly looked that way.
That game in KC, 100%. They played that game to lose. So it was terrible. But anyway.
All right, Barbosa, we will catch up with you probably next week after the Houston game. Now we're going to have to do a weekly, broadcast. So, with the way this season's going. All right, Barbosa, we'll check
take care.
Check in with you next week.
Later, bro. You got it.
Later.
All right. Now, let us get to... Now, Jose, I'm very concerned. Well, not really concerned, but I do want to talk about this. What in the blue hell is going on with Brandon Ayuk? He has not shown up to meetings, and he's not rehabbed his knee properly. And so the 49ers have taken a process called we're going to terminate his guaranteed money for the process of terminating his contract. Jose, this is ugly and it's leading to a divorce. How do you feel about this and what do you think's going on here?
It just shows you a player that doesn't want to be there and get out. That's it. End of story. There's not much to talk about. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be a professional. You don't want to follow your contract duties and as a player, get out. Done. The end of story. We move on. The money that you save up with releasing his ass, you can sign Juwan Jennings. I think he can do the same job as Brandon Ayuk and let him go to Washington because that's where he's always wanted to go,
or Pittsburgh or wherever he wanted to go play.
With Jaden Daniel. Like, it's stupid. Like it's getting out of, like, people are blowing out of proportions. The guy doesn't want to be there. Get out, and that's it. End of story.
Yeah, I got the feeling when he signed the contract he didn't want to be here, and he just happened to get $30 million and said, "Okay." Gil, you've been a manager of soccer teams and other teams in your life. What would you do with Brandon Ayuk?
So players like Ayuk, what he's doing right now is two things. You get him out, and you guys are wrong. You don't let him go to Washington where he wants to go. You ruin his career. You call the other managers. They think they're bigger than us. No one signs them. No more money for Ian, big boy. And he has no more money, no more career. Done.
They could do it.
You ruin their careers. If the owners do an owner meeting, they should say players that think they can demand stuff and be bigger and bully the owners around, you cut off their careers. No one signs them. What is he going to do? When you have the 32 teams, no one's going to sign, like they did to Kaepernick.
Like they did to Kaepernick,
All the owners are like, no one's signing this guy. He thinks he's bigger than us? No, right? Because obviously Kaepernick's better than half of these quarterbacks that are in the league.
Yeah,
anyways.
no kidding.
But they made a statement. Maybe Ayuk is another statement. You think you're bigger than us? You think you can do whatever you want? No problem. Or you keep him, you pay him, but then after that, but he doesn't play, you ruin his career. You just ruin these guys' career. And a lot of professional teams, not just football, soccer, NHL, when the players start thinking they're bigger than the game, that's what the owners should do.
Well, we're seeing this in Real Madrid with Vinicius Jr. I don't know if you guys know this story, but he got all pissy when he got taken off the field with like 5 minutes left in the game. And then Alonso said, "Okay, sit beside me, son." And now he wants out of the team. So, I mean, and they're going to end up probably releasing him and letting him go. So, I mean, do you agree with the Vinicius situation?
But then nobody else should sign him because now there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
Because they have this thing, I just want to go somewhere else. There is nowhere else. That's the thing. That's what should happen. There's nowhere else because if someone else is just going to pick him up and pay him anyways, these players get away with anything.
Yeah, that's true. And this is what's going on in a lot of sports across. Basketball especially is really bad with it, and now we're seeing it in football. And this is not good. Not good. So I could do without Brandon Ayuk. Honestly, just move on. Kyle Shanahan has proven that he can win games with or without receivers. And so, if he doesn't want to be here, then make sure that you get off the cap hit and then spend it on somebody else. Simple as that. All right, now let's get into the picks. Gil's on fire this week, so I'm very happy to have him back after he missed a week. It looks like he kept all that energy from the missed week that he was mad about, is giving it to us this week. So we're just gonna be on fire talking about these games. It's Thanksgiving weekend. We're all gonna be excited to watch the games tomorrow. And let's start with the first game. And Gil's already smiling. He knows what it is. Packers Lions. Every year on Thanksgiving, Packers Lions. Gil, Packers got a win last week. They beat up the Vikings. I'm sure that made you very happy. The defense took over that game. Parsons is looking great. And the Lions were a little shaky, beating the G-Man and Jameis Winston. So, having said that, who do you got?
Well, I said this at the beginning of the season, and you know what? It's actually at 1 o'clock, so I have to leave work early tomorrow.
Yes.
I always said at the beginning of the season that the Detroit games was going to be the Packers win at home and the Lions were going to take theirs at home. So I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to take the Lions to win.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Plus, Jordan Love just doesn't convince me. He just doesn't convince me.
See, I told you he was going to say it. I told you he was going to mention it. Jahmyr Gibbs is what I've noticed about the Lions is that everyone thinks their best player is Jared Goff, and their best player is not Jared Goff. Their best player is Jahmyr Gibbs. When he gets the football, and they win football games. When he doesn't get the football, they don't win football games. And I said this to Jose a couple of weeks ago. They miss Sam Laporta dearly because without that security blanket in the middle of the field, Jameson Williams becomes less effective because they're not afraid of him running past guys, and Amon-Ra St. Brown gets double teamed. And so they're having a very difficult time passing the ball in those situations. And yet last week when they played the G-Men, they just gave the ball to Gibbs on every play, and they came back and won. I don't know if that's going to work up against this Green Bay defense, and having said that, I'm going to take the Packers. I think that their defense and the way Minnesota beat Detroit in Detroit will happen with Green Bay, and I'm going to take the Packers with Josh Jacobs returning to the lineup. Jose, who do you got?
I'm gonna take, based on their run game, I'm gonna take the Detroit Lions. I think Gibbs has a good running game against has a nice field day against the Packers defense.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Lions.
Yeah. Should be a close game, should be a fun game, and there's always surprise results when these two teams play. So we'll see what happens. I'm the only one in the Packers. That's a surprise for me. Let's get to game number 2, which is widely believed to be going to be one of the most watched games in the history of Thanksgiving. I'm hearing 50 million people are going to be watching this game as the Kansas City Chiefs go to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys still mathematically alive to make the playoffs after they won last week. Pickens is having a great season for them. As he exploded last week again. Kansas City, by the skin of their teeth, is still alive, sneaking out a win against Indy in a game that they almost blew. Dallas's offense is on fire. Kansas City's defense is playing well, but I don't know what's going on with Kansas City's offense. Pacheco comes back this week. Gil, Jose, let's start with you. Who do you have in this one?
KC. That Dallas defense, that secondary is gonna have problems with Rice and all those guys on the wide receivers from KC. They have their speed and stuff like that. And Spagnuolo will try to double team as much as he can. Pickens and Lamb, and they're gonna force other guys to beat them. So yeah, I'm gonna take KC.
Gil?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the flow on this one. I think the Cowboys have something flowing. They're on beat. They're in rhythm. The second half there, they played well to win that game. They shut out the Eagles there. You know, the Chiefs just feel like they're playing well, but they're not clicking like they're used to. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the feeling. I just feel like the Cowboys have a good rhythm right now.
I actually agree with you, Gil. I'm taking the Cowboys. I think their offense is playing better than the Chiefs. I think that their defense really showed up last week against the Eagles. They shut them down completely after the first quarter. And I think they're going to ride that momentum at home against the Chiefs and win this game. This is a different game than last week because the Cowboys need this game as much as the Chiefs do. And I just don't like the way the Chiefs look. I haven't liked how they've looked all season. And if it gets into a scoring battle, I think Dallas wins a scoring battle. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one. Now let's get to game number 3, another Thanksgiving tradition it feels, and features the return of Joe Burrow as the Cincinnati Bengals go to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Every time these two teams play on this day, it's 41-38, 45-41. I think when Gil and Jose went to see this game, it was 44-41 in overtime with picks and touchdowns and everything all over the place happening. And I don't expect this to be any different. However, the Ravens defense is number 1 in the NFL in the last 4 weeks, so I'm going to take the Ravens. Gil.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Ravens. I think Burrow still needs to get into game rhythm. It is a good sign for the Bengals. Use these games just to get back in rhythms. They're not pretty much going to make the playoffs, but if he can get back in rhythm, it'll be good. But I think the Ravens sneak up and they win, and their defense has been playing well. So I'm
I
going
am
to
a
take the
little worried
Ravens.
about the Ravens offense, which has been very average, but I think their defense is back. Jose?
Yeah, the Ravens defense is back. Henry is running the ball well now too. So and the Bengals defense is horrible. So give me the Ravens.
The games that the Bengals lost with Joe Flacco are unbelievable. 39-38 to the Jets, 47-42 to the Bears. I mean, it's just the games they've lost. I mean, it's incredible. Like, and even if Joe's in there, they're probably going to lose 44-41 again. Now let's go to the Bears. Don't ask me how they're 8-3, guys, but they're 8-3. They've won a whole bunch of games late with last-second field goals. I haven't been impressed with Caleb Williams. He's been okay. Their running game's been excellent. Their defense is terrible, but somehow they're 8-3. They go to Philadelphia to take on an Eagles team that's going to be very angry after blowing a lead against the Cowboys, and I fully expect them and their defense to rebound and beat up the Bears. Give me the Eagles all day, and I expect their offense to rebound against this horrible Bears secondary. Jose.
Yeah, give me the Eagles to bounce back. But you ask why the Bears are 8-3, and it's based on the turnovers that they get. They get a lot of interceptions.
That's true.
And they're I think they lead the league in interceptions and in turnovers and stuff like that. So that helps them a lot. In saying that, yeah, I think Philly's gonna win this game. I think Barkley's gonna have a good game, and yeah, they pull it off.
Yeah, I said this before. Barkley's had a terrible season, and when you go on the Madden cover, that's what's going to happen. Gil, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm still stunned that the Bears are 8-3 or whatever they are.
Yeah,
But
eight, and they're leading the division.
but the Bears are just like the Leafs. They can go on a 5-6 game losing streak and probably not even make the playoffs still. So don't get too excited with the Bears, but they're gonna get their ass licked on this one. So I think the Leafs are actually losing to Columbus. What are they on a 7-8 game losing streak?
Yeah, 5 or 6, something like that. Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Eagles are gonna give the Bears a licking on this one.
All right, let's go to Jacksonville. Here's another team that's 7-4, and I have no idea why or how. Their defense has been decent, but in the last 4 weeks, their defense has given up a lot of yards and a lot of points, but they're finding ways to win games with their run game because Trevor Lawrence has been absolutely terrible during this run of wins. He threw 3 picks the other day, and they still found a way to beat Arizona in overtime. They go to Tennessee to take on the Titans, who, yes, Gil, is getting much improved play from Mr. Ward since the coaching change. I liked what he did against Seattle. They came back. It was a really good performance by him. And because of what I saw in that game, I'm taking the upset and going with the Titans to beat the Jaguars. I think this is going to be a win for Tennessee. This is one of those games where Jaguars fall asleep. They get some picks off of Trevor Lawrence, and they pull one out. Gil, who do you got?
Yeah, I agree. This is a good upset pick. Tennessee was in rhythm. Well, Cam Ward's still not. I still don't change. Doesn't change my mind of what I think of him. I just think, yeah, the Jags are going to take this game for granted. And Tennessee is gonna kick them in the mouth on this one.
Jose.
I disagree with you guys. I'm gonna take the Jags. I think the Jags need this team to keep pace with the Colts, and they have the. I think they hold the last playoff spot, so they need to keep winning to make the playoffs. I think they have a better team than the Titans. So give me the Jags.
Okay, let's get to a very ugly game. The Atlanta Falcons, now with Kirk Cousins at quarterback and no Drake London, go to the Jets to take on the Jaguars, led by Tyrod Taylor. And because of Tyrod Taylor and Kirk Cousins, I'm taking the Jets. Because I told Jose last week, as long as Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, which is the rest of the year, I'm not taking Atlanta. So give me the Jets for the upset. Breece Hall run the ball, Tyrod Taylor make no mistakes, and you win the game. Gil, who do you got?
I'm with you, Reese. I'm taking the Jets. I have that feeling too. Uh, Atlanta's just really iffy. Uh, London's not there. They're having problems going downfield. Well, and it's Kirk Cousins throwing too at the end of the day. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Jets. I like Tyrod. He's not the greatest, but he keeps everything simple. So I think it gives the Jets a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Jacoby Brissett. I mean, they haven't won, but he's been pretty good in Arizona. And Tyrod's a guy that just doesn't make mistakes. Jose,
I don't know. This game is too shit. Well, I don't know. You know what? I'll take the Falcons just based on their defense. I think they can get some pressure on Tyrod Taylor, and yeah. So give me the Falcons.
all right, I'm not going to waste too much time on this one. The best team in the NFL goes to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Panthers have come back down to earth after beating Green Bay, and I don't think playing the Rams is going to solve their issue with Bryce Young. Bryce Young is not an NFL quarterback. They had every chance to beat the 49ers last week. Purdy gave them the football multiple times, and Bryce Young's just useless. And so when you have to go play the Rams, who are top five offense and top five defense, I don't care if it's in Carolina, it's going to be a beatdown. Give me the Rams, and the Rams are likely to get the 1 seed, which makes me sick, but it is what it is. Jose, who do you got?
Yeah, the Rams. I think Carolina's on a short week as well. But that's no excuse. That's no excuse. But yeah, and Bryce Young hasn't been playing that bad. Calm down. You're bashing the guy for what?
I don't think
He
he's a
has
starter, Jose. I don't think he's a starter.
who's better than Andy Dalton?
No, not on
Okay.
that. Obviously,
What do
they're
you,
going to play him, but I don't think he's a starter on a good team. I don't think he's a starter.
I think he's an average quarterback. He's not the
Okay,
greatest, but
okay.
he can get the job done. Like he beat the Packers already this year. He's beaten some good teams.
He scored 13 points to beat the Packers. That's not
Doesn't
saying
matter.
anything.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to score 40 points every single week to be a great quarterback in the NFL. As long as your team wins, that's all that matters. But whatever.
Okay, so you got the Rams. Jose, Gil, who do you got?
The Rams. I don't have to explain myself.
Yeah. What do you think about Bryce Young, Gil?
Yeah, he's okay. He's mediocre. They're trying to build something there with them. Like, give the kid a chance. Give him a shot. See what happens.
I don't understand how you have Rico Dottle and Chuba Hubbard and you run the ball 9 times. Yeah, like it's just stupid. Like okay, if you're gonna win with Bryce Young, you need to run the football. When they've won the games they've won, it's been 100% because of the run game. When they won, it was because Rico Dottle run for 200 yards, not because of Bryce Young. When Bryce Young threw for 400 yards, they lost. Run the football. Why are you running it 9 times against the 49ers who are giving up 400-yard passing games to Jacoby Brissett? So maybe it's stupid coaching. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be so hard on Bryce Young. Anyway, we all have the Rams because they're going to get their ass kicked. Let's see, got 4 minutes. Okay, one more game. The New Orleans Saints, who, Jose correctly predicted would beat Atlanta would beat. Unfortunately, New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback, and Kamara gets hurt, so they can't move the football. Atlanta, even with Kirk Cousins, finds a way to win that game. So now New Orleans goes to Miami to take on the Dolphins. As long as Davon Achane is healthy, the Dolphins are going to beat bad teams. I've got the Dolphins. Jose.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one.
Jose or Gil?
Yeah, even a concussed quarterback can win this game. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take Tua and the Dolphins.
I mean, you don't have to be concussed to hand the football off, do you, Gil? I mean, it's pretty easy. Just you give the ball to Achane, and that's how you win. You pass the ball to him too. You just throw little passes to him, and you'll win the game. That's it. We have time for one more. Let's go to we'll do one more. The Arizona Cardinals, who, despite not winning, are throwing the hell out of the football. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, I mean, I'm surprised he has an arm left with all the throws he's made recently, making stars out of Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch all of a sudden. They go to Tampa Bay to take on the struggling Bucks, who recently got back Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin, but now have Baker Mayfield with an injury. from what I've heard, he's going to play because it's on his non-throwing shoulder, and because of that, I got the Bucks, who need to win this game because they're only one game up on the Panthers for the division. Gil, who do you got?
Yeah, but I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna go with Baker on this one. Buck Irving should help too. But Arizona's been doing some gunslinging too, so it'll be a tough game. But I think in Tampa, I think they'll sneak one out and win.
Jose.
If Baker plays, then they're gonna win. If he doesn't play, then I don't know. They might be in trouble. But yeah, I'm basing on my pick of saying that he's gonna play. So give me the Bucks.
No faith in Bridgewater.
He was a high school freaking coach a couple of months ago, and all of a sudden you have faith in this guy to come in?
No,
like, are you
I do
kidding me?
not. I was waiting for you to say that.
There's so many freaking good quarterbacks out there that you can get, and all of a sudden you go get this garbage. I don't know.
Bridgewater and Kyle Trask are their backup people.
They got the high school discount.
Yeah, you get a free lunch meal at lunchtime.
God, was he terrible in relief last week? My God, I don't think Tampa Bay crossed the 50 after that. It was just ridiculous. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back on the Reese Report. And believe me, when we come back, this game that's coming up is going to be a doozy, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Reese Report. We are now continuing our picks for Week 13 of the NFL season. We will let you know about the records after the show is done. Just scroll to the end, and you'll see our records and our picks. But for now, let's get to a game that's very, very important for the team you see behind me. The San Francisco 49ers, and I cannot wait to hear Jose's pick on this one, go to Cleveland to take on the Browns, led by Shedeur Sanders, who won his first start last week against the Raiders, which all of us had coming, and now has been rewarded with a second start at home against our 49ers. Jose, you got your wish. Gil, you got your wish. Shedeur Sanders is starting for the Browns. Who do you got on Sunday? I know who I got.
Oh, I do too. You want me to start?
Look at Jose. Look, he doesn't know what to do. Look, like he's all nervous. Look,
Jose's still sucking on that lollipop.
Yeah, look, he knew this game was coming. He knew it was coming. Yo, you go ahead.
This is gonna be an easy one. I don't know. You know, the Browns' defense is gonna hold up, especially the way Purdy was playing. If they could contain McCaffrey, Shedeur might win this game, and I'm gonna take the Browns. It sounds like a lot of upsets this week for me.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I watched Purdy play on Monday night last week, and if that happens this week, if there's any indication at all that that's how Purdy's going to play in Cleveland, in the dog pound, against that menace that is Myles Garrett, who's about to break the sack record, it's going to be a very long day for the 49ers. And I think Shedeur Sanders, just like we all said last week, is going to give them stability at quarterback. They've already got a good running game with Judkins and Sampson. I got Cleveland. I think Cleveland's winning this game. I got Cleveland. I think the last time they played Cleveland, they lost to Cleveland as well. So I got Cleveland. Jose, there, the pressure's off. Who do you got?
I don't know. I'm still deciding. I don't know, man. It's just all about the defense, man. To me, yeah, Myles Garrett is gonna get pressure. If they can hold up that defensive line. I think Trent Williams will be fine with him against him one-on-one. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried if they put him on the other side and stuff like that of the offensive line. But in saying that, right now, I think even with the last week's 3 turnovers, they still move the ball pretty well again, and they've been moving the ball these last 2 games well with Kittle, with McCaffrey. I think they'll throw in a lot of play action. They'll chip Garrett on the line. So I think Shanahan will have a perfect game plan for Garrett, and I think the Niners pull this one off and going into the bye week.
How do you think Sanders does in the game, Jose?
If they let him throw the ball, he'll do fine. I think against the Niners, it's hard without Bosa and stuff like that. They hardly get any pressure on the quarterbacks. So he'll have time in the pocket to find the wide receivers and stuff. Their run game is fine with Judkins. Yeah, I think you'll have a fine game, and I won't be surprised if the Browns do win the game either too. They're not like you said, the Niners last time they played there, they lost, so it's not like a surprise or anything like that. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Niners. I just think that right now, with McCaffrey's all world right now, and I think you gotta ride him until his legs come off. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
That's pretty much what the 49ers offense has been this year. Gil,
Yeah.
what did you think of Sanders' performance last week, and how do you think he'll do this week?
Last week he played loose. It was Las Vegas, right? Now, the Niners will be a little bit tougher. He might be, I don't know, the Niners might force him into throwing some picks. That's the only way I see them probably pulling this game off, is forcing him out of the pocket and forcing the ball and getting some picks off of him. Give him the rookie mistakes. But I don't know. I just feel what the problem here is what are the Niners going to do against that Cleveland stingy defense? Like, that defense is just stingy. Garrett is a handful, and the Niners against average defense have struggled. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have a big test. So to win this game, their offensive line has to do a lot of blocking. They have to almost play like the game of their lives.
Yeah. It's going to be tough in the dog pound. It really is. The last time Purdy went there, it wasn't pretty, and I don't think it's going to be Purdy this time either. Let's go to Houston. The Texans are on fire. With their backup quarterback, they've gone 3-0 because their defense is unbelievable, and they go into Indy to take on the Colts in what will be a massive game for both teams. I think Houston has to win the game if they want to make the playoffs, and I think Indy has to win if they want to keep a hold of their division lead. Wow, this is a tough game. I don't know who I'm taking yet. Gil, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride Indy at home. They've just been unstoppable at home. Indy, when they play at home, has just been a different team. They're tough to beat at home. You can tell. Going to the playoffs, if they get home field advantage, watch out. They feed off the crowd. They've been practically perfect at home. I don't see anything different here. I think Taylor's gonna run it down their throats, and I think they beat Houston.
Yeah, I wrote down Colts here. I don't think the Colts are done. I think that when they run into good defenses, they're going to have trouble, and they're going to have trouble in this game as well. But when I watch Houston play on the road, they struggle. They barely beat the Titans on a last-second field goal on the road. I know Stroud will be back, but it's probably going to take him a game to get into things, and he's playing, one of the best teams in the league in his first start back. So I think the Colts are going to win this game, and I think Houston will win the comebacker. But there's a lot of in me that says that Jones might struggle against this defense, but I actually think that Taylor will rebound and have a good game, and the Colts will win a close one. Jose, who do you got?
Houston, just based on their defense alone.
Yeah, not surprised you took them. Yeah. Any other reason? Other than just the defense?
I think the defense, they'll make a game plan to force thing to throw it, and he'll throw some picks.
Yeah.
I think they'll stop the run and maybe force Daniel Jones to beat them, and I don't think Daniel Jones can beat them.
Yeah.
So in saying that, I'm going to take the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that Bills game was so weird last week because it started off with Cook, running the ball 54 yards for a touchdown, and I'm like, okay, if they keep running with Cook, they'll be okay. And then they just stopped running the football.
They stack the box.
Right.
They put 9 guys that basically there, and they forced them to throw the ball. And
they sacked Allen 8 times, I think.
They got pressure to him. That's what it is.
Yeah.
These guys they're pressuring the quarterback is insane.
Will Anderson is unbelievable. They're just I wouldn't blame anyone for taking Houston in this game. It's a scary game for the Colts coming off that loss to Kansas City. Let's get to the Vikings, who do not have a quarterback. I'm not even sure who the backup is because I know J.J. McCarthy's got a concussion, he's not going to play, and I know Carson Wentz is on the retirement list to retire from the league. So I have no idea who's playing for the Vikings. And when you're going to Seattle, it doesn't matter. This is the biggest revenge game you're going to see in your life because Darnold is going to remember what the Vikings did to him, and he's going to run up the score with Jackson Smith and Jigba. This is the best bet of the week, guys. Take the spread, take the money line. I don't care what you take. The Seabag's going to crush the Vikings. Yo.
Yeah, I agree. Like you just said, it doesn't even matter who it is. Vikings are in shambles. Seattle needs the game, and they've been playing well. The Jigba's been on fire. Seattle is just playing well, and at home they're good too. They're hard to beat at home. So I think Seattle.
It's 10.5 the line. I mean, it's a high line, but and Minnesota's defense isn't bad, but yeah, this is going to be a game.
By a point, make it 9.5. So you have
that's
10
it.
on your side.
There you go. Yeah, I think the Seabags. Darnold's going to want this one bad. Jose, who do you got?
Yeah, you got Seattle. I think they're gonna win this game big time.
Yeah, I think this is make it 9.5 and take this one. The quarterback for the Vikings, Gil, ready to laugh? Max Rosmer. I don't know who that is. I have no idea who that is. So, yeah.
Used to play for the University of Minnesota.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. He's a local boy. Okay.
Yeah.
The Seabags defense might be the best fantasy pickup of the week. So if they're available, pick them up. Now let's go to a game that's going to be really interesting. Now, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back this week. Jose did a very good job last week of correctly predicting that Mason Rudolph would have a decent game against the Bears, but they came up short, losing 31-28. This week, Buffalo comes to town as they go to Heinz Field to take on the Steelers. The Bills have been terrible on the road this year. They've lost to the Dolphins. They've lost to the Texans. They've lost to the Falcons. And so I've got the Steelers. I'm tired of the Bills. They suck on the road. And I'm going to take the Steelers with or without Aaron Rodgers. I think that their defense will show up and try to get to Josh Allen early and often. And if Josh Allen tries to play a hero ball like he's done the last 2 weeks, he'll throw some picks. So I'm going to take the Steelers, even though the Bills need this game and are teetering on the edge of the playoffs. The Steelers need the game just as bad because they're going to have to play the Ravens for a couple of weeks in the next 3. Tough game. Jose, who do you got?
I'm going to take Buffalo. Every time Josh Allen has a pretty bad game, he always bounces back with a good game. So I think he's going to have one of those rushing, passing, touchdown kind of games. I think they both need this game, but I think Buffalo, based not like in first place in the division, and if they want to make that game against the Patriots mean anything, they have to keep winning. So I'm gonna take Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just think they're so bad on the road. I'm just done taking them on the road. Jose or Gil, what do you got?
That's gonna be a tough one in Steel Town. I just feel that the Steelers are gonna run into a lot of field goals and not finishing their drives, and the Bills will. That's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the Bills just based off. I think the Steelers are gonna run into a lot of field goals.
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again with the Bills. When they run the football effectively with James Cook, they win, and when they don't, they lose. And that's pretty much how their entire season has gone. The minute that Houston stopped James Cook, they couldn't do anything offensively because they have no weapons on offense whatsoever. And I think that if J.J. Watt gets to him or T.J. Watt gets to him, they're in trouble. Let's go to the Vegas Raiders, who are the most disappointing team in the NFL this year. Maybe not that disappointing because they just suck. They go to LA to take on the Chargers off a bye. As bad as Justin Herbert has been, he will not lose to the Raiders at home. The Raiders are getting Omari and Hampton back, and they should be a lot healthier returning. from their bye, and so I expect them to give the Raiders a beatdown. Gil, who do you got?
Yeah, same thing. Charger at home. It's a divisional game though. Sometimes the Raiders wake up and they play well these games.
Yeah.
So you never know. So I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Jose, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers, but I won't be surprised because these are one of the games that Vegas always likes when everybody's on one team, and then you know how it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm
I
gonna take the
understand.
Chargers. I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Yeah, huge game for the Chargers if they want to make the playoffs. They're 7-4. They lost the tiebreaker with the Jags, and so they need to win this game. Let's go to the Broncos, who are also coming off a bye. They go to Washington to take on the Commanders. The Commanders have a lot of injuries. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is coming back. We don't know if Scary Terry is coming back. They lost their lead running back in Jacoby Merritt, and they're playing a healthy Broncos team with a great defense who just came off beating the Chiefs. I got the Broncos winning this game by a fair margin. Gil?
Buddy, this is you guys are talking to Mr. Bo Nix over here. Bo Nix is gonna win this game, and even though Washington has all those injuries, Denver to me is probably the best defense. I think Washington's gonna have a hard time scoring here, so I think the Broncos win easy.
Any concern about J.K. Dobbins being out for the year, Gil?
Well, it's obviously concerning, but Harvey's gonna have to step up, which he hasn't. They've been actually relying on Bo Nix to run around, scramble, and throw and make it happen because Harvey has not stepped up and got the big plays for them. So yeah, it will hurt them. Should have they try to get something? Maybe they didn't, so now they have to live with it. But the Broncos defense to me are still the best defense in the league.
Jose, who do you got?
Yeah, Broncos are gonna smash them. It's not even too many injuries on Washington. Defense is weak. Yeah, give me the Broncos.
I will say if Daniels comes back, it's a little bit of a scarier game, but we'll see.
Daniels is not playing this week. He's out.
I don't think he's going to play either, but
No.
if he was playing in this game, it'd be a little scarier because he certainly can make things happen with his legs, and even with no receivers, can make things happen with his arm. But I think it's going to be Mariota.
But this is a game that Denver's going to sack him like 7-8 times and probably put him in the hospital. So they're better off not playing him this game.
Yeah. And finally, the Monday Nighter. The G-Men, who will likely get Jackson Dart back and really gave Detroit a hard time last week. Jameis Winston is one of the most unpredictable quarterbacks in the league. But when he gets it going, he can really hurt you. It doesn't even matter who he's playing. That arm, when it's going, he can really hurt you. I mean, he turned Rondale Robinson into a superstar last week. And I mean, so like, watch out. The G-Men next year, I think they're going to be one of the biggest surprises in the league next year. But for now, they go to New England to take on the Patriots, who have taken full advantage of their schedule and are now 10-2 on the season, look likely to win the division, and are fighting for the 1 seed. Having said that, I will take New England, but this will be a close game. I think the Giants are going to keep it close. They're getting a good run game from Tracy, and if Dart's back, that's going to be a tough guy to stop. So it'll be close, but New England wins. Jose.
Yeah, New England wins. Just too many injuries, and they should. But like you said, next year they'll have a good team next year with a new coach, new system. They'll have a good team. And Jackson Dart's actually very surprising. You know, he's played well the games that he's been playing. So yeah, but if I was them, I would just I would just sit him out and just play out the rest of the season. There's no point of him trying to get injured again, get another concussion. I'll beef up that offensive line next year, and then we'll have an awesome offense with him, Scatterboo, Wendell, Neighbors will be back as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the Giants are a sneaky dark horse to win the division next year. That's how good I think they can be next year. That team, if they get the right coach. Gil, what do you got?
I'm sticking with upset alert. I'm going to take the Giants. I think this is a conversation we're going to have next week. Is the Patriots the frauds?
Yeah.
After losing to the Giants. So I'm
Yeah.
taking the Giants.
Yeah, that is a conversation we can have because I think there are questions about the Patriots. They have had a weak schedule. Drake May hasn't been as good the last 3 weeks that he was the weeks before that. Their running game is a question mark. Their defense has been up and down. So absolutely, you can ask that question. But I've said this before. You can ask this about any team in the NFL right now, minus maybe the Rams. But everyone else has questions. And so, yeah, they could be on the fraud list next week. But as I said, Gil,
I think I think it's a good play. You take the Giants plus 7.5.
Oh,
And I would say
100%.
And I would say take the Broncos with the 6. The Broncos should destroy Washington.
Yeah, good segue. I was going to get into the picks for this week. I would take the over in the Cincinnati Baltimore game. It's 52.5. Every time they play each other, it's an over. I would take Tennessee to cover the 6.5 against Jacksonville. I would also take I like the Browns to cover the 4 against the 49ers. Even if the 49ers win, it'll be by 3. Wow, that Colts game is 4.5. I'm thinking about that one. I think Houston will cover the 4.5 against the Colts. Denver's only a 6, at Washington. I think Denver wins by more than 6. So there's some picks for you. Jose, what do you got? You got some picks?
I agree with like some of them that you guys were saying, but I like that Denver was covered. That's the 6 against the Commanders.
Yeah.
Maybe the Niners squeak out a field goal victory against the Browns. I see Houston covering. I see Houston winning straight up against the. Even if
Right.
I think CJ Stroud comes back, I think they beat him straight up. And I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo to. I don't know if they're favored or if they're underdogs, but I like Buffalo to beat.
How about
Pittsburgh.
How about a Thanksgiving parlay? I know these are not locks or anything, but if you had to take the 3 Thanksgiving games, give me Green Bay, Dallas, oh boy, and Cincinnati to cover against Baltimore. How about you, Gil? Actually, I'd rather not just take the over in that game. Never mind the Cincinnati cover. Just take the over.
Yeah, I'd probably go the Packers line game over 47. I would take the Cowboys to cover the Chiefs, and I'd go over on the Bengals Ravens.
Jose, Thanksgiving parlay.
I don't know what the spreads are for the games.
I can tell you, Detroit's 3, Kansas City's 3.5.
Yeah,
Baltimore's 7.
Detroit will cover the 3. Kansas City. They'll cover against the Cowboys, and the other one is what's
Baltimore's
Cincinnati?
a 7. Baltimore's a 7.
Thing covers the 7. Cincinnati covers the 7.
Okay, so there's some Thanksgiving stuff for all our U.S. viewers out there, and those are our picks. Now, for the records, last week, just Jose can verify this for me. Me and him both had 11 wins last week, and Gil had 10 wins last week. We have a hell of a battle right now. Gil has a 3-game lead over me and a 4-game lead over Jose. So we have a hell of a battle coming up to the end here. It's very close, and it's going to go right down to the wire. So we're giving you a nice little battle here. Gil with a lot of upsets this week. I have a lot of upsets this week. So there's going to be some switching up going on these records here because a lot of upsets picked this week. So we'll see what happens. It could be a totally nude standings when we get to here next week, and then we'll see what happens. Coming up on the Reese Report, however, is I told Jose about this last week, and I will tell Gil now. We are going to be giving you our Team Canada rosters, where we come up with our own personal rosters, what we think Team Canada should be. So, Gil, you've been notified now that will be happening. And to end the show, I'd like to ask Gil and Jose about this. Have you ever in your life seen a player get probation for a red card? And do you think that is appropriate? For those who don't know, I'm speaking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who got a red card, a 3-game ban and got probation for the ban so that he doesn't miss World Cup games?
Well, first of all, a red card should be 1 game. I don't know why you'd get 3.
Violent conduct, he got 3 games, Gil. Because he elbowed a
I've
guy
seen
in
Messi
the back.
choke people, and he didn't even get a card.
Yeah.
Okay. So you talk to me about who gets away with what. Let's not get into that conversation because you're gonna make me drink and get upset. So
That's why I brought it up.
To that.
Do you think that it's the right thing to put?
Because if you want, I'll go back and I'll show you Messi grabbing people's throats and stuff, and not even getting anything.
Okay. So we're talking about.
That doesn't look bad.
Okay, but we're talking about Ronaldo, who got a 3-game ban, and his ban was put on probation so he wouldn't miss World Cup games. Do you think that is the right move? And have you ever seen that before in the history of football?
Well, for me,
not the first time.
For me, yeah, it's not the first time. But for me,
okay.
Number one, I think it's aggressive. 3-game ban for that. We've seen worse.
Okay? Yes.
And for FIFA, it's the World Cup where it comes down to money. They need Ronaldo in the World Cup.
Absolutely.
So
I'm not surprised at all, by the way, that he didn't get suspended for the World Cup. I'm not surprised at all. I told Daniel that he wasn't going to get suspended. So
now, if that was the last game Portugal played and he got a red card, automatically he has to have 1 game. You have to miss the first game no matter what.
Yeah, he missed the Armenia game.
But now these 3 games and 4, whatever, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
We see players do worse. In Africa, people are like kicking people in the back with their studs, and then they're running them after into the locker rooms. We see players run after refs to try to beat up refs.
True. True. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I get what you're trying to say. You're trying to say they took the ban so he can win the World Cup, so they're trying to favor Portugal. At the end of the day, that shouldn't be the reason, but they need Ronaldo in the World Cup for money reasons, obviously.
Yeah. And I knew that was going to happen. But what I'm saying is that whether I agree, disagree, or whether it's Ronaldo or Messi, doesn't matter. This is happening, and it's favoring Portugal 100%. Although I'll say this, they probably would have been better off with him missing the 2 games. To be fair, I actually don't think it's an advantage. I think it would have been better had Ronaldo missed those 2 games. They play without him the 2 games. Then he's fresher for the last few games. They bring him in. He's a house of fire. He's all pissed off. I think it would have been better if he got suspended. Jose, what's your thoughts on this? And you said you've seen this before, where they suspended a suspension.
They suspended players before before World Cups or Euro Cups, and they took their bans away. And it's like it's just basically now he's got to watch himself for the rest of the year until the season's done.
Yes,
and he can't get another red card, or else then he gets suspended the remaining games of the season.
If he gets another red card, then he gets suspended. Yeah,
it's just basically it's all about propaganda for him to make it to the World Cup, so that he doesn't miss any game. That's all.
Of course. Yeah,
it's nothing. If it was any other player, they would have kept the ban. Because it's 100%. Ronaldo and it's a big name player, they took his ban away. It's as simple as that.
Simple as that. Yeah, no surprise at all. So I wanted to bring that up because I know that people were going to want to hear about what happened with the suspension and stuff. And Ronaldo will now play and will start because Roberto Martinez doesn't have any cojones to not play Ronaldo as a starter. Although, as Jose pointed out, and I think Gil has said this before, they don't really have anyone else to start at the top. So I guess he's going to start.
You got Gonzalo Ramos, but
yes,
like every time he's been playing, he scores goals. It's not like he hasn't been playing well. It's just it's the politics of him playing and him not playing, and then they won 9-1 against Armenia, but then who knows Armenia?
Exactly.
It's true. Like, it does open up the game for other players.
Yes.
But they have to play like that with him there.
Yeah.
Like Bruno Fernandes played an amazing game. Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. They can play like
Ronaldo can't run anymore, Jose.
Listen, it's not. If you've seen the goals that they scored, it's not about playing. It's just about the open space that dude. Like Ronaldo, he's not as young, and he's not gonna run. He's not gonna dribble. I'll dribble anybody like he used to. but
Yeah.
he opens up the game for these guys, and these guys don't realize that. He takes like one or two defenders away from him, and then he opens up the area for Bruno Fernandes to come in, or Vitinhas, or João Neves, or something like that. But the problem is these guys, when Ronaldo's playing, it's just like, okay, we'll just give it to him and then let him do
That's
whatever.
it. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
It's a mentality. We have to get him the ball. Right. Exactly.
It's not just getting him the ball. It's just, okay, he's gonna score, or
right.
we'll give him the ball and he's gonna do his thing. Like, he's gonna score for sure. No,
Yes.
it's not like that. You gotta be like, okay, I give him the ball. Okay, I'm gonna make an open space. He'll give you the ball. He's a smart player. He's not as, like, people say he's selfish, whatever. He's not. He wants to win the World Cup, and
Yes.
he's gonna do what it takes to win the World Cup. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's what he can say whatever he wants, but that deep down inside, that's what's burning him inside, is not winning that World Cup.
Yeah, I know. He said in interviews that the World Cup's not that important. He's a liar. His interviews are ridiculous. If you guys want to check out the Piers Morgan interview he did recently, it's one of the most ridiculous interviews you'll ever hear in your life. Because it's a lot of BS, a lot of stuff that he's trying to say because he hasn't won something that's not true. Like saying that it's harder to score in Saudi Arabia than it is in Europe. Like, he just said some really, really ridiculous things. The World Cup's not important. Like, it's a ridiculous interview with a fan interviewing him, because that's what Piers Morgan is. He's a fan of Ronaldo, and it's the only guy who's allowed to interview him. So, but it is funny. So if you want to check it out, it is very funny. All right, guys, that's the show for this week. We will talk more about the World Cup as it gets closer. Italy is in a playoff. They're going to have to beat Wales, Northern Ireland, or Bosnia-Herzegovina to make the World Cup. And if they don't, they'll be out for the third consecutive year. And I will be truly embarrassed. And I will come out here and tell you how terrible they are. But this goes back a long way to Roberto Baggio trying to fix the FIGC. And they told him to take a hike. And since then, outside of a European championship, Italian football has completely fallen apart domestically, in the youth, and everywhere else on the field. And so I will have plenty to say if they don't make it, but here's hoping they do. But for now, I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese. That's Jose Carlos Gomes and Bill Santos. We'll see you next time on the Reese Report, and hit my music.